United Nations World Tourism Organization or UNWTO Sustainable Development Goals are end poverty in all its forms everywhere, end hunger and achieve food security and improve nutrition and promote sustainable, ensure healthy lives and promote well-being for all at all ages, ensure inclusive and equitable quality education and promote lifelong learning, achieve gender equality and empower all women and girls, ensure availability and sustainable management of water and sanitation for all. End poverty in all its forms everywhere is one of the largest and fastest growing economic sectors in the world. Tourism is well positioned to foster economic growth and development at all levels and provide income through job creation to those related to promoting empowering less favored groups, particularly youth and women. End hunger, achieve food security and improve nutrition and promote sustainable. Agriculture tourism can support agricultural productivity by promoting the production, use and sale of local produce in tourist destination and its full integration in the tourism value chain. In addition, agrotourism, it is the act of visiting a working farm or any agricultural or agribusiness operation for the purpose of enjoyment, education, or active involvement in its activities. A growing tourism segment can complement traditional agricultural activities. The resulting rise of income in local communities can lead to more resilient agriculture while enhancing the value of the tourism experience. Ensures healthy lives and promote well-being for all at all ages. Tourism contribution to economic growth and development can also have a knock-on effect on health and well-being. Foreign earnings and tax income from tourism can be reinvested in healthcare and services, which should aim to improve maternal health, reduce child mortality, and prevent disease. Ensure inclusive and equitable quality education and promote lifelong learning as opportunities for all. A well-trained and skillful workforce is crucial for tourism to prosper. The sector can provide incentive to invest in education and vocational training and assist labor mobility through cross-border agreements on qualification standards and certification. In particular, youth, women and senior citizens, indigenous people, and those with special needs should benefit through educational means where tourism has potential to promote inclusiveness, the values of a culture of tolerance and peace, non-violence, and all aspects of global exchange and citizenship. Achieve gender equality and empower all women and girls. Tourism can empower women in multiple ways, particularly through the provision of jobs and through income-generating opportunities in small and larger-scale tourism and hospitality-related enterprises. As one of the sectors with the highest share of women employed and entrepreneurs, tourism can be a tool for women to unlock their potential, helping them to become fully engaged and lead in every aspect of society. Ensure availability and sustainable management of water and sanitation for all. Tourism can play a critical role in achieving water access and security, as well as hygiene and sanitation for all. The sufficient use of water in tourism sector coupled with appropriate safety measures, wastewater management, pollution control, and technology efficiency can be keys to safeguarding water resources.
Good morning, ma'am. My name is Rapshal J. Sempio and I am the next reporter. 7. Ensure access to affordable, reliable, sustainable, and modern energy for all as a sector that requires substantial energy input. Tourism can accelerate the shift toward renewable energy and increase its share in the global mix. Consequently, by promoting sound and long-term investment in sustainable energy sources, tourism can help to reduce greenhouse gas emissions, mitigate climate change, and contribute to innovative and new energy solutions in urban, regional, and remote area. 8. Promote sustained, inclusive, and sustainable economic growth, full and productive employment, and decent work for all. Tourism is one of the driving forces of global economic growth and current provides for one and all jobs worldwide by giving access to decent work opportunity in the tourism sector. Society, particularly youth and women, can benefit from increased skill and professional development. 9. Build resilient infrastructure, promote inclusive and sustainable industrialization, and foster innovation. Tourism development relies on good public and privately supplied infrastructure and an innovative environment. The sector can also incentivize national government to upgrade their industries, making them more sustainable, resource efficient, and clean as a means to attract tourists and other sources of foreign environment. 11. Make cities and human settlement inclusive, safe, resilient, and sustainable. A city that is not good for its citizens is not good for tourists. Sustainable tourism has the potential to advance urban infrastructure and universal accessibility, to promote regeneration of areas in decay, and presents its cultural and natural heritage and assets on which tourism depends. 12. Ensure sustainable consumption and productive patterns. A tourism sector adopts sustainable consumption and productive SCP practices can play a significant role in accelerating the global shift towards sustainability. It is imperative to develop and implement goals to monitor sustainable development impacts for sustainable tourism, which create jobs and promote local culture and products.
Number 13. Take urgent action to combat climate change and its impacts. Tourism contributes to and is affected by climate change. It is therefore in the sector's own interest to play a lead role in the global response to climate change. By lowering energy consumption and shifting to renewable energy sources, especially in the transport and accommodation sectors, tourism can help tackle one of the most pressing challenges of the current time. Number 14. Conserve and sustainably use the oceans, seas, and marine resources for sustainable development. Coastal and maritime tourism's biggest segments, rely on healthy marine ecosystems. Tourism development must be a part of integrated coastal zone management in order to help conserve and preserve fragile marine ecosystems and serve as a vehicle to promote a blue economy. It is the sustainable use of ocean resources for economic growth and improved livelihoods and jobs, while preserving the health of marine and coastal ecosystem. 15. Protect, restore, and promote sustainable use of terrestrial ecosystems. Sustainably manage forests, combat desertification, and halt and reverse land degradation and halt biodiversity loss. Majestic landscapes, pristine forests, rich biodiversity, and natural heritage sites are often the main reasons why tourists visit a destination. Sustainable tourism can play a major role not only in conserving and preserving biodiversity, but also in respecting terrestrial ecosystems, owing to its efforts towards the reduction of waste and consumption, the conservation of native flora and fauna, and its awareness-raising activities. 16. Promote peaceful and inclusive societies for sustainable development, provide access to justice for all, and build effective, accountable, and inclusive institutions at all levels. As tourism revolves around billions of encounters between people of diverse cultural backgrounds, the sector can foster multicultural and interfaith tolerance and understanding, laying the foundation for more peaceful societies. Sustainable tourism, which benefits and engages local communities, can also provide a source of livelihood, strengthen cultural identities, and spur entrepreneurial activities, thereby helping to prevent violence and conflict to take root and consolidate peace in post-conflict societies. Number 17. Strengthen the means of implementation and revitalize the global partnership for sustainable development due to its cross-sectorial nature. Tourism has the ability to strengthen private and public partnerships and engage multiple stakeholders, international, national, regional, and local, to work together to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals, or SDGs, and other common goals. Indeed, public cooperation and public or private partnerships are a necessary and core foundation for tourism development.
Pillar of Sustainable Tourism. Pillar 1. Tourism Policy and Governance. This is the country's pillar to which all others relate because a clear policy effectively implemented by governance structures that embrace a range of stakeholder interests is essential for developing sustainable tourism. 3. Pillar of Tourism Policy and Governance. The position of tourism in development policy and program. It is the level of recognition by government and international agency of the importance of tourism for the sustainable development of the country, reflected of overarching development policy and program. Tourism policy and regulatory framework. It is the presence of well-formed, agreed, and implemented policy strategies and plans that provide direction of the development and management of sustainable tourism, supported by necessary legislation and regulation, tourism governance, and institutional setup. It is the refer the structures in place to oversee the development, management, and coordination of tourism employment policy and take action with a focus on multi-stakeholder collaboration, including public, private, and partnership. Pillar 2. Economic performance, investment, and competitiveness. Tourism is a major contributor to world trade, accounting for 5% of the global and gross domestic product (GDP) and over 30% of world export of service. From many developing countries, it is the one of the main sources of frequent exchange income. It is the only major service sector in which developing countries have consistently recorded trade surpluses relative to the rest of the world. In nearly half of the world less developed countries, LDC's tourism ranks among the top 3 export sector. However, for those countries that are dependent on this level of trade to be able to maintain and building on their position of the other countries to be able to expand tourism in their economies. The condition must be right for ongoing investment and business growth, while in ensuring that this has made the principle of sustainable tourism. The world economy resume. It is independent international organization committed to improving the state of world by engaging business, political, academic, and others leaders of society to shape global regulation. Regional and industry agenda compares the competitiveness of destination countries in travel and tourism using a set of 79 variables on yearly basis. Their variables span a wide spectrum of factors from the policy and infrastructures and it is natural and cultural resources. The resulting index provided a valuable insight for developing countries in considering, monitoring, and comparing their tourism competitiveness against each other and against developed economies.
These are the four sub-pillars of economic performance, investment, and competitiveness. First, measuring tourism and its contribution to the economy. It pertains to the availability of tourism data and the need for improvement on how it is collected, together with the use of established processes for understanding the economic value of the sector through supply and demand side measures and the use of national accounts. Next, trade, investment, and the business environment. It refers to the context for stimulating trade and investment through the inclusion of tourism in international negotiations and agreements. Factors for an assessment also includes levels of investment, an understanding of barriers to growth, and the provisions of a business environment conducive to the needs of a tourism sector. Next, brand marketing and product positioning. It is the clarity of a country's destination brand and the coherence and the execution of its marketing plan, backed up by a set of products that are able to deliver the quality and diversity needed by identified target markets. Next, resilience and risk management. It refers to the attention paid to avoiding and managing shocks to the tourism sector from internal and external sources, so strengthening its reliability as a source of income and prosperity. Pillar number 3. Employment, decent work, and human capital. Tourism is a labor-intensive sector that creates many jobs at all levels. According to the International Labour Organization, or ILO, and UNWTO, the global tourism sector accounted for more than 235 million jobs in 2010, representing 8% of global direct and indirect employment, or 1 in every 12 jobs. It is forecasted that it will grow in the coming years. There are 5 main reasons why sound policies and actions in the area of employment and human resources are critical to sustainability development through tourism. The provision of accessible opportunities for employment available to all is central. These are the 5 main reasons why sound policies and actions in the area of employment and human resources are critical to sustainable development through tourism. First is the provision of accessible opportunities for employment available to all is central to economic development. Next, the availability of labor with sufficient aptitude and skills is a key requirement of the successful tourism businesses. Next is the way that people who work in tourism perform their jobs and relate to visitors makes a huge difference to the quality of the visitor experience. Next, concern about working conditions and employee welfare must be seen as fundamental principle of sustainable tourism in its own right. And last but not the least, the availability of knowledge and skills in certain specific areas is important for the sustainability of tourism. It can be seen immediately that all five of these reasons are closely interrelated.
Two sub-pillars of employment, decent work, and human capital. First is human resources planning and working conditions. It pertains to the development and implementation of policies, strategies, and plans for the provision of employment, the management of human resources, and the assurance of decent work, based on widespread consultation with all involved actors. Second is skills assessment and the provision of training. It involves understanding the needs of the tourism sector and employees for improved skills, including in the topics related to the sustainability of tourism, and strengthening the availability and quality of training in a country in order to meet these needs. Pillar 4. Poverty reduction and social inclusion. Achieving a significant reduction in poverty is a major objective for sustainability development and is the first of the UN Millennium Development Goals. Social inclusion parallel. International concern requiring that the rights and needs of everyone, irrespective to their gender, age, race, or ability, are fully recognized and that active steps are taken to provide opportunities for all disadvantaged people. The need for gender equality and promoting the position of women in society is underlined in the third MDG. In recent years, many development assistance agencies have given priority to supporting opportunities for women and young people who can relate well to the tourism sector. It is important to appreciate that the concept of poverty can be considered in a number of ways. While income poverty is sometimes identified by reference to a global poverty line set at $1.5 per day, poverty may also be considered as a relative position of groups in society, affected in any one country by the level of inequality in the distribution of wealth and income. Poverty should also be seen as a condition relating not only to income but equally to other aspects of the quality of life, including the availability of opportunities for changing and access to life support systems. Tourism can bring benefits but also carry pressures that affect all aspects of poverty in a certain country. There are many reasons why tourism is well placed to provide opportunities for the poor and other disadvantaged groups. These are the following. First is, it is a growing sector, which has provided its ability to deliver economic development. Second is, it is a sector in which developing countries can be at a comparative advantage owing their climate and wealth of natural and cultural assets. Third is, it can provide economic activity in places where there are few alternative opportunities, notably in rural areas that contains 70% of the developing world's extremely poor people. It is labor-intensive as a sector. The next is, it is a diverse sector providing the opportunity to support other economic activities, both through providing jobs that can complement other livelihood options by creating demand through the supply chain. It provides a wide range of opportunity for work, both unskilled and skilled, that are well suited to women and young people. The next one is, it can provide opportunities for minority communities and support their culture. Next is, With startup costs and barriers to entry which can low, it creates opportunities for many small and micro enterprises. The infrastructure provided by and for tourism, such as roads, water supply, and sanitation can also be a great of benefit for people communities. By the market coming to the product, which is a special aspect of tourism, it provides a unique opportunity for social and economic contact of all kinds. The potential of tourism to reduce poverty depends partly on the overall growth of the tourism sector in a country and is contribute to the economy as a whole. Alongside this is a need to influence the share of the tourism economy that reaches the poor through a range of strategic and tactical approaches. While tourism can bring positive opportunity for the poor and disadvantaged people, sometimes it can have a negative impact on social structures, tradition, and local livelihoods. This may come about from increased competition for resources, local price rises, and social changes leading to increase in crime, devaluing of traditions, and other problems such as sexual exploitation arising from the behavior of tourists and new influences on local communities.
An integrated approach of poverty reduction through tourism. It is the mainstreaming of poverty reduction in tourism policy and the development of a strategic approach at a local destination level. Strengthening pro-poor tourism initiatives, it is a successful application of different mechanisms for increasing income and benefits to the poor from tourism spending the investment. The inclusion of disadvantaged group in the tourism sector, it is the approach taken toward engaging and benefiting women, young people, and elderly, ethnic minorities, and disabled people in tourism. The prevention of negative social impacts is involved the safeguarding of local communities from threat of their traditional value structures and well-being from unwanted change brought by tourism. A country's tourism sectors and less natural and cultural assets are inextricably linked. Fine landscape, rich biodiversity, unique heritage sites, and vibrant indigenous culture combine to provide the main reason why tourists visit most developing countries. The conservation of these assets is of paramount importance for tourism. At the same time, the tourism sector itself must make sure that its activity do not damage them but rather help to sustain them through the awareness and income that it generates. Climate change driven by greenhouse gas emission is recognized as a permanent threat to the environment, society, and economic development. Four sub-pillars of sustainability of the natural and cultural environment. Relating tourism to the natural and cultural heritage, it is an integration of tourism and the management and conservation of natural and cultural assets, including protected area. Focusing on climate change, it refers to the need and address the challenges of climate change in tourism policies and strategies. Enhancing sustainability to tourism development and operation is the promotion of practical policies and action within the industry of encourage and pursue. Ensuring and monitoring tourism impacts, it pertains the importance of understanding and qualifying the impact of tourism in the natural and cultural environment through monitoring and the use of sustainability indicators.
Agenda 21 for the travel and tourism industry. It is an action plan for sustainable tourism development launched by the World Tourism Organization or WTO in cooperation with two business associations in 1996. Global Code of Ethics for Tourism. This sets a frame of reference for the responsible and sustainable development of international tourism, which was introduced by WTO in the late 1999. It includes 9 articles outlining the basic rules for governments, tour operators, developers, travel agents, workers, as well as host communities and the tourists themselves. The United Nations General Assembly adopted this in 2001. World Summit on Sustainable Development. This identifies further measures to promote sustainable tourism development with a view to increasing the benefits from tourism resources for the population in host communities while maintaining the cultural and environmental integrity of the host communities and enhancing the protection of ecologically sensitive areas and natural heritages. It was adopted at the World Summit on Sustainable Development (WSSD) held in Johannesburg, South Africa in 2002.